Hi, I'm Phil Hatch, test-taking expert and creator of TestPerfect.com. In this video, we're going to discuss what is actually on the GRE. The GRE is the Graduate Records Exam administered by ETS, Educational Testing Service. So this is a question a lot of people want to know, like, well, what's on it? What am I being tested on? Is it testing me on all the stuff I've learned in undergrad? What is actually on the test? So that's what we're going to discuss today, and here's a hint. There's essay, math, and verbal sections on the test. We'll go over these quickly, just to give you an overview of the test. So, the essay. Now, you actually start the whole GRE experience doing your essay section. It's an hour-long section right at the start of the test, where you do two separate half-hour essays. One of those essays is an analysis of an issue, and the other is an analysis of an argument. So the issue essay, the first one, is going to be asking you your opinion about something. Now, they can be random things, and never controversial, but all the topics that could be asked on test day are already published at ets.org. If you just Google that, you'll find ETS really soon. And every topic that could be asked is right there. And so you can kind of see what they're asking and maybe even do some prep prior to test day. So that's the issue essay, where they want your opinion. The other one is the analysis of an argument. This is a very different essay in which you're going to be responding to someone else's argument. Well, someone else has used some evidence to come up with a conclusion or recommendation, and your job is essentially to peer review them and point out some of their shortcomings, but you're not going to take the opposite position. You're just going to point out how they failed to establish their position. Okay? And there's a lot of flexibility in how you write your essays. You're going to be graded on things like how well you make your points, how well you support them, how well you're organized, how well you put your sentences together, making sure you have good variety and vocabulary, and also proper grammar. Okay. Now, just a little hint on the essays. If it's been a while since you've written essays, a really good place to start is the 5-paragraph essay you learned in high school. Intro paragraph, body paragraphs, conclusion paragraph. Okay. So the next thing that's on the test is math. Now, math and verbal, there's going to be 2 sections of each that are just mixed together after the essays. So those can come in any order, along with, by the way, an experimental section. So you'll have one extra section of either math or verbal. On my personal test, I had 3 math and 2 verbal, knowing that one of my math sections didn't even count. So they're using that section, the experimental one, to get the next year's GRE dialed in. So you're basically used as guinea pigs. So you don't have a choice in it. And you'll never know even after the test which section didn't count. But the 2 math and 2 verbal sections that do count can also come in any order. So basically after the essays, whatever pops up on your screen next is what you do. Okay. So math, of course, is something that a lot of people are very worried about. Some of you probably have not done any math in college. In fact, I actually see that quite a bit. So like maybe people did an AP course and got their college credit and literally went through their entire college experience without a single math course. Great, but now it's going to come back and bite you a little. Okay. But I have to say, even people that are excellent at math, people like math majors, engineers, econ majors, they actually still struggle a little bit on GRE math because it's not the math that they've been tested on in college. It's more back to high school and in some cases elementary school math. They're going to test you on things like arithmetic, algebra, geometry. Then they also do a lot of number properties. By that I mean things like square roots, absolute values, odds and evens, positives and negatives, factors and multiples and prime numbers. Okay? They also are going to test you a little bit on statistics. Now, this is not like a college level stats class. It's more like averages and medians and ranges. Although they do get into probabilities and a little permutation combination stuff, those are just hard questions. Okay, you're also going to run into some word problems. Things like overlapping sets. How do you account for the people that are in both groups? Or things along those lines. Or rate time distance or rate time work. Okay? And then also you're in math section, you're going to have some charts and graphs. My word of warning is always be scared of charts and graphs on the GRE. They can be really tricky. You want to pay attention to footnotes, headers, everything. Really become familiar with it. But it's like this. There's a chart that you have to go get information from, but that's not your answer. You then have to take that information and do math to get to the answer. Okay? So I actually think charts and graphs questions are actually fairly difficult. So if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to our channel so you can get more of this content. And you can also check out our channel, our website, if this is something that you're interested in. Okay, so the other thing that's on the test is the verbal sections. Now, the GRE in the verbal section is really going after two things. Reading comprehension, which of course you need to be able to read and comprehend what you're reading, and vocabulary. Okay, so the reading comprehension is going to consist of passages that can be about almost any topic that you don't need to know anything about. Okay, you can get every point on the GRE without knowing anything about the topic going in. Okay, but the passages will be range from really, really short, like 2 lines long, up to like 30 lines long. And then they kind of vary the number of questions based on how long the passage was. So if you get one of those really big passages, they give you 4 questions about it. And if you only have a little short one, they'll give you 1 question. Okay. Now the questions are going to be things like, what's the author's main point? Primary purpose. What can be inferred? What did the author actually say? What would the author agree with? Why did the author include this detail or that detail? Or maybe what was the structure of the passage? Things along those lines. Okay. Then you have vocabulary. So vocabulary on the GRE is tough. Obviously, they're testing whether you can compete in an academic world in grad school, where you're going to be getting a master's or maybe a PhD. And if you have read a lot of scholarly journals, you probably are aware that vocabulary is part of that world. Now, when I teach videos, I don't use that vocabulary. I'm just communicating in everyday, simple vocabulary. But in the academic world, you need to be able to compete in that world. So you need to sound educated, okay? And so that's what the test is going after. So they're going to give you various passages, and then they'll have a blank or 2 blanks or 3 blanks missing, and then you choose from a list of words what word should fit into that blank. So I hope you're seeing, though, that there's still a reading element to the vocabulary questions. You have a passage that you have to understand to be able to see what word would fit in. It's never, ever like, here's a word, what's its synonym? They just don't do that. It's always within context of a reading passage. Okay? So that's, yeah. I feel like most people need to greatly add to their vocabulary prior to test day. Okay? When I did it, I memorized 500 new words. And I thought I already had a solid vocabulary, but you just need to really build up that vocabulary. Now, the words on the GRE are reused a lot, and there's a lot of lists out there that you can find that give common GRE vocab words. Those are great, and that's a good place to start learning your vocab. Okay, so if you've really enjoyed this video, please check out our next video in the series. We'll just link that right up here. Or if you want to find out more about our course, check out this video. It'll tell you about our course and link you to our website. Thank you so much.